All right, we are going to break down some of the local ranking factors. We're going to listen in with Darren Shaw of White Spark, one of the top kind of authorities in this world. And he published the 2026 ranking factors. I'll put that in the comments a little bit later on. But for now, we're just going to jump in on this. Okay, so let's talk about this real fast. So service area business versus a address business. So that's been one of the contentious factors in local SEO for a long time. A lot of businesses, they don't have their address in a central location. And since you only have about a 5 mile radius at max of relevance for your business, unless you do a lot of work over a couple of years, you can't expand that. But Google's only going to give you about a 5 mile radius. And if it's very, very competitive, it'll be even smaller than that. So it's very important that you have your address in the right place. So if a business has an address outside of a city center where they want to compete, they will put in a service area. The problem is that Google doesn't really like that. And so they will not rank you as quickly. So service area businesses can get ranked on local maps, but it takes a lot longer. Now, what they're talking about here is you can actually move the pin, which you have not been able to do in the future. So hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, you can contact me. Happy to walk you through any of it, but let's get back into the video. this is a really important factor. Google is notorious for not being very responsive. And so when you're trying to do something, you don't want to just go in willy nilly. If you've got several locations and you've got one that you don't care about as much, try it on that one first, or get some consulting. Because if you try to move something and Google forces you into a re-verification loop, that could be worse than the situation you were in the beginning. So before you just go in knocking stuff down, get some consulting, get a professional to go in and look at it with you, to talk through your options and what you can do. Because again, like what she's talking about, Google is not great about being quick on the draw when you've got a problem. When they've got a problem, they're going to shut you down quickly. But when you've got a problem, it can be hard to get an answer. Let's get back in. Let's go ahead and jump forward a little bit. So this is a function in WhiteSpark. They have local SEO software. It's really great. It's kind of expensive, but it's good software. So you can check that out. I'm going to go ahead and skip forward into the next section. You can check this video out for yourself if you'd like to learn more. Let's see here. All right, here we go. Next section. So that's an important distinction. If you're dealing with any problems, you should understand the difference between restricted and suspended, and you need to take action immediately. This is another advantage of having a professional on your side, because like for us, for our clients, we're looking at their GBP several times a week. So we're going to know immediately if there's a problem. If you're like most home service business owners, you're out there putting out fires and babysitting all day and sometimes all night, and you just don't have time to constantly check things. But when you've got a professional on your side, you've got somebody that's looking at your website and looking at your GBP constantly, and they're going to know if something is going on and they can attack it faster. Just letting an account sit there restricted or suspended without taking any action creates a real problem for you, because it appears to Google like you're not serious, you're not on top of things, and that can make the process much longer for you. Before we go any further, this is a really important thing that's Google's getting more serious about this. I don't know how they're going to litigate this, but basically Google is getting more and more serious about businesses putting pressure on people to leave positive reviews. So I was in an oil change place just the other day. Leave us a 5-star review on Google and get $5 off your oil change. And the problem with that is if Google gets wind of that, they'll suspend your account with no warning whatsoever. So if somebody puts that up online, if somebody says, I felt a 1-star review, I didn't like the fact that they were only going to give me a discount if I left a 5-star review. If somebody did that to your business, then you're in real trouble. So the way you want to word it is you want to say, leave us a review, not a 5-star review. I wouldn't even have the 5-star logo on the review thing anymore. Like the prompt, whatever that is in your business, just put a QR code on there, leave us a review. Tell us how we did. We're always trying to earn your business. We want to earn your future business. Please let us know how we did. Here's a QR code for the review. You can incentivize reviews. I think Google's still okay with that. But another thing that Google is trying to crack down on, this is where I don't know how they're going to litigate this, but basically Google is trying to say now, don't ask for a review when you're in the home. So you go out, you fix somebody's AC, you finish up a remodeling job, you finish up a roofing job, and you're there at the home and you say, hey, while we're here, let me give you our review code. This is how I've always coached my business owners to do it. Is, hey, while we're here, I'm going to send you this code. Go ahead and click on it, make sure that it opens, and then you can leave us a review and tell us how we did. And what Google is saying they're going to do is they're going to be tracking to see whether or not the business owner phone was present at that location when the review came in. So that's all well and good. Where I don't understand how they're going to prosecute this is, number one, most of the time the business owner is not the one in the home, unless you run a single truck operation. But even if you are, how are you going to punish a business owner if the homeowner chooses to review them while they're still there? I don't understand how you're going to do that. But in any case, what I would start doing is say, hey, go ahead and load up this link, check it out, make sure that it's open and working. I'm going to go ahead and head out and do it like the last thing before you leave, because homeowners forget, right? And that way you're headed out. And hopefully, you'll be like leaving the premises by the time they leave their review. I really think that's something that Google has tried to do many things in the past, and it just proves unworkable. They want the activity to stop, but they can't. There's no way to really stop it. So I would just say be very careful with how you're doing. I think if you've got multiple trucks out there, you're probably safe, because I don't know how Google would track your worker's phone to the location. I don't know how they would do that, because it's not linked to your Google account. And you could even, if you're a big enough operation, you could even have it set up on a different phone number than what's the one that's in your hand. And so then again, I don't know how they would ever prosecute this, honestly, but just be aware that Google is really trying to crack down on fake reviews. Another thing you want to do is check your review count and take a screenshot of all your reviews, even if you've got a couple hundred, because Google, one of the things that's happening right now is because Google is trying to crack down on fake reviews, a lot of real reviews are getting caught up and deleted. So you can wake up one day and you had 175 reviews yesterday, you wake up today, you have 50, and you have no proof they were ever on there. But if you have those screenshots, just take a screenshot every couple of weeks, unless you're getting a lot. If you're getting a couple a day, take one, every 4 or 5 days. Just have an employee on your team, just take a screenshot, save them in a file, and you can even update them every time you take a new screenshot of all of your reviews. Take all of them every time. Then you can delete all the old photos, or you can try to keep a rolling count. Whichever way, you just want to get a record of those reviews that they are on your account. So again, you just need to be aware of if you think about it from Google's standpoint and what they're trying to achieve, it's easier to kind of stay ahead of what they're doing. So let's continue. So this is about these things. I'm going to go ahead and fast forward into the next section, because unless you're out there slandering your competition or you're paying for fake reviews, this doesn't really apply to you. But just keep in mind the whole restricted account versus suspended account, and then think about what I said about reviews, requesting reviews, or putting pressure on people for positive reviews. I'm going to get into the next section now. Let's see. Here we go. So if you're not familiar with this world, this is AI. People say LLM and they mean AI. LLM is just large language models. And probably if you own a home service business, you've been thinking about this, and you should be. If you're not, your business is behind. If you have been thinking about it, but you haven't been taking action, your business is behind. I've been saying for over a year now that you're out of time. Well, now you're behind. You're officially behind, and possibly by quite a lot if you've not been taking action on these things. Because I guarantee you, your leading competition is taking action on these things. We've revamped our approach for every one of our clients because of what AI has, the changes they've made. So let's listen to what they have to say about this ranking factors. I'm going to freeze on this a minute so that you can take a look at this. I've been saying for a long time that I believed, so when AI first hit, there was a divergence kind of away from the Google standard operating practices. But since Gemini came out and the fact that all of the AIs began to use Google's database, it standard SEO practices are back. And in fact, some of them that were kind of dead, like blogging and GBP posting, that those were kind of dead. AI has made them valid again as long as you're obeying certain rules. I'm not going to go into all those. I'll do another video about those. But just note that being present on Google's page one is one of the primary ranking factors. It's the first one he talks about. So what that means is if you're doing the right things according to Google, oops, sorry. If you're doing the right things according to SEO best practices, most likely you're going to be fine with AI. There are some variables in there that you need to mix in. There's some other citations that you need to use now. I've talked about those before, but I can make a separate video about that as well. But regardless, what you're looking at is the fact that good SEO generally means good AI SEO. So let's continue. So you probably already understand this, but I'll explain it anyway because I didn't always know what it meant. Causation versus correlation. Correlation means two things are true beside each other. Causation means one thing caused the other. So a glass of water and a glass of Coke can stand beside each other. That doesn't mean that the either has a causative relationship with the other. The Coke didn't cause the water didn't cause the Coke. But if you say all Coke has water in it, now you have a causative relationship between the water and the Coke. And so what he's saying here relative to this discussion is that the data, he's laying the data out. He's saying that 12 times out of 20, when a plumber has these factors in place, they're ranking on the first page of Google. And 8 times out of 20, when it has these same factors in place, it ranks on the first page of AI or LLMs. And so what that means is he's just observing that that data is there. He's not making a causative link. So that what that means is for you, it doesn't mean that every time you blog, you're going to hit page one of Google and page one of AI search results. He's saying that in these observed instances, that is true. Okay. And I'll find this link to this study. That's really interesting. And then I'll link it in the video. If you don't see it, just ask me in the comments. But what I really love about it is you can go in there and analyze it per industry. And hopefully your industry is there. You can learn some stuff from it. Okay, so this is huge. I just got off the phone with a guy yesterday who called me all upset because his listing had his GBP had been suspended. And when I investigated it, he had updated his website, changed the phone number, but he still had the old phone number in the footer of his website. Not only that, but he had the old phone number in his Facebook profile. And not only that, he had a third number that was out there in a couple of his social profiles. And fourthly, the one that sunk his ship is he had no citations. He had like 5 citations outside of his website. And so you've got to do a run of citations to build the foundation for your business. You simply have to have it. You can contact us. We can build them for you. You can go to Whitespark. They've got a service that you can do it yourself. It's going to take you some time, and if you don't understand the world, you can mess some things up. But it's a good service. Highly recommend it. But we also do it for you. Just let me know. We can talk about that. But citations for your local business. And if you have more than one location, you need to run a separate set of citations, have a separate phone number. And so that all that gets set up correctly. It's really, really critically important. And it's actually more important than it ever has been because AI now goes out and crawls some of these citation sources that you would never think to consider. I actually saw Foursquare show up. I saw Thumbtack reviews show up in citations. Angie's List reviews show up in citations. And those are things that you would not ever consider in the past for your basic SEO. But LLM guys, the LLM platforms crawl those. So it's very important. Yeah, so this is really big. Like I was saying before, Google is known to be very opaque in their responses to reviews being taken down, suspensions. I think what's happening is they're under a lot of pressure by these other AI companies who are encroaching on their search territory. And so that's driving them to be much more transparent. And so that's good news for all of us who are out there trying to get answers when things go sideways. So, really great news there. Mm. Okay, this is massive. This is one of the biggest problems that, especially if you're an older company, back in the day, when brand, when the keyword was more important than the brand, that era is dying very quickly. Now, there's a whole exact match domain play here that we're not going to talk about right now. We're literally talking about your brand and how important that is to be able to be distinguishable. So, just signed up a guy. Let's see. Let me make up a name. Let's say Banana Boat Decks. I'm just going to use something crazy so that we don't see this. So, Banana Boat Custom Decks. That was the name of his business. In the same city, there was another company called Banana Boat Decks. Okay. And so when you go through the process of naming your company, there's two big problems that business owners cause themselves. One is, I call it internal branding. So they'll call it Mike and Sheila's Home Builders. And they're naming it because Mike and Sheila are the couple that own the business and they love each other and it means a lot to them. And so they're naming it Mike and Sheila's. Well, the problem with that is that that doesn't mean anything to the customer. What does the customer want? What do they get from your brand, right? They're going to get the solution to their problem. What's their main problem that you're solving? That's how you want to name your business. Roto-Rooter is a great example. I'm sure the guy that named that is not named Roto or Rooter. But when you think Roto-Rooter, you think clearing out a pipe. It just instantly comes to mind, even if you had never heard of it before. Okay, so clean pipe plumbing, fix a pipe plumbing. Those are brand names that speak directly to the solution. Okay, that you're giving to your customer. So that's how you want to brand yourself. But the next thing right after that is you've got to look around to see who else is around them or around you. I had a company call themselves like ABC Design Build. and they founded their business and everything, and then it turns out less than 10 miles away from them was a company called Design Build Construction, and they both were home builders. So now Google has to parse between the two of your entities to say, well, which one is ABC Design Build and Design Build Construction? And they're both home builders. That's a big problem. So you want to look around. One of my customers is called Attic Fanatics, and they were going to call themselves the Attic Guys. Well, the problem is there was a national franchise called the Attic Guys. And so they were going to have what we call a disambiguation problem. Google is going to have a harder time separating you from that other entity. So we named the company Attic Fanatics, and that was my idea. I'm pretty good at these things, so if you ever want a brand consultation, holler at me. Let me know. We can have a sit down and talk it through. But it's worth investing a little bit of consulting money or just time and energy into understanding how you build your brand name so that it's very clear to Google who you are, number one, and that you're not that other guy. And number two, that you're speaking to the problem that your customer's trying to solve. If you do those two things, your brand is going to sail. I mean, it's just going to it's going to soar. Okay, let's get back into what he's saying. Okay, now these pillars here, distinctiveness, relevance, reputation, and demand. This is specifically talking about your brand online. So again, can Google tell you apart? That's a disambiguation problem. Relevance, what are you known for? And what he means there is not what you're known for at the Rotary Club or down the street when people talk to you. Those are good things, but you've got to get that information into the digital world so that Google can consume it and then link it with your brand. Okay. Then reputation. What do third parties say? What do your reviews look like? How many platforms are you reviewed on? Right. And then demand, how many people are seeking you specifically. This is called branded search. So in Google Search Console, if you don't already have Google Search Console connected to your website, you need to do that. And actually going to do a video on this. Google has just set it up so that you can connect your socials to Google Search Console. And so this is a huge thing because Google's now going to be taking your post in and assimilating those along with the normal branded searches. But in Google Search Console, what you should see is your brand name should be getting the most searches out of all the searches on your website. And that means people are going and looking for you. This is either a current customer who's looking up something on your website, or a past customer who's going back to find you, or somebody, hopefully, this is huge, somebody that saw your wrapped vehicle and now they're searching your brand. That's what you want. Okay. Yep. Okay, so we're going to close this out. This is just the final part of it, is just a pitch for what else they got going on. Highly recommend this video. I'll link this video in the description. But just to close this out, NAP consistency. NAP is name, address, and phone. If you've changed your phone number, you should have a trackable phone number. So not your actual phone number that you hold in your hand, but a trackable phone number that filters and forwards that call to your phone. You should have that on your website and on Google. You should not have your actual cell phone number if you can avoid it at all, because you can't track anything. You can't sit down at the end of the month and go, I got 45 calls. Another benefit is if you're using CallRail, CallRail will record the call. And so you'll get not only the calls, but especially if you have different team members answering the phone, you'll be able to get a recording of that call. And that gives you some measurability within your walls to be able to tell how you're performing. But then as you grow, sometimes you'll change that phone number. You've got to go back out in your citations and change that phone number. If you move offices, you need to change that address. So it's very important, more important than ever, that you keep all that information consistent. An easy way to do this is to search your brand name in quotation marks and then look at all the information that comes up. If you have your current your current address, search your address in brackets. I call it brackets. It's just in quotation marks, and then look and make sure all the phone numbers are all the same. Now take your phone number and put it in quotation marks, and you shouldn't have to with a phone number, but I do it anyway. And then you'll see every time that that phone number comes up, make sure all the addresses are right. Okay. If you have a different address that pops up, grab that address, search it in quotation marks. You want to see every time the wrong address is popping up. And then you want to go out there and either ask for those to be deleted or ask to be able to update them. If you can't get them updated, then there's another whole process you go through to try to get that just deleted. But name, address, and phone number is very important to have consistent all the way across all your platforms. So I hope this has been helpful. I'm going to go ahead and shut it down now. If you got any questions, you can ask them in the comments. And yeah, see you next time.